Liberia President George Weah has announced that he would run for a second term, rejecting mounting criticism that he is out of touch with the population facing steep price rises and food shortages. The election is slated for October 10 in the West African country.
My fellow citizens, I will be coming to you shortly to ask you to renew for a second time the mandate that you gave me 6 years ago. As we stand here today, let me assure you that the state of our nation is strong. The state of our nation is stable. The state of our nation is vibrant. The state of our nation is useful. The state of our nation is peaceful and secure. We intend to keep it this way.
The 56-year-old Weah was absent from Liberia for more than a month late last year. He has also faced backlash over how he handled corruption accusations made by the U.S. against 3 of his top officials.
They are where I'm coming from. Look at it here. You begging me to wear it here. You look at my now. Amen. All the people are coming outside today. They get the other people to come and then they join them again. For people who not let it. I'm going to lay down to my door. I will clean my food before I enter. Wear it here. Wear it here. They are where I'm coming from. Look at it here. You begging me to wear it here. You look at my phone now. Amen. All the people are coming outside today. They get the other people to come and then they join them again. For people who not let it. I'm going to lay down to my door. I will clean my food before I enter. Wear it here.
Members of the press, you are aware that our President Commander-in-Chief, Dr. George Manneh Weah, ended his last annual message on just recently. Other political party leaders giving their own critiques. About the message. And I think it's their responsibility. To the message from the chief. Analyze the message from the chief. Coming to the MDR. As a former political leader. As a former currently chair of the governing council. I analyzed the message. At the end of this message of the chief executive, he said he would be going to the villages and towns. To ask for a new mandate. Meaning he wants second term. Request. Anyone can request. That's good for him to request. Anyone can request. But he also said in the message that he took over from a broken empty coffer. Nothing was absolutely in the bank. From the first annual message 2018, until now, he has been repeating. The first time he said that, empty coffer. Madam Salif, who declared Madam Salif monitoring, who declared on all government expenditures in a bid to ensure that there was sufficient money left in the bank for the new government she was telling Otto to operate. No government was using money during her time when she declared monitoring. So when he made his first statement, I took over from empty coffer, nothing was there. Ellen came out, Madam Salih came and said, look, I left a lot of money there. If you tamper with the people.
There's some people talking about, and that's just a coconut factory. Coconut factory is right on the other end. Those that every day making more, saying I work with Coca-Cola. And I work with Coca-Cola. You work with Coca-Cola. It is diverse laborious and find the chemical to mix chemical. It's not mixing chemical. I can mix Coca-Cola. I can make my own Coca-Cola. But they boast on the only thing they do to be on the. There's some people talking about, and that's just a Coca-Cola factory. Coca-Cola factory is right on the other end. Those that every day making more, saying I work with Coca-Cola. And I work with Coca-Cola. You work with Coca-Cola. It is diverse laborious and.
They are where I'm coming from. Look at it here. You begging me to wear it here. You look at my now. Amen. All the people that coming outside today, they did the other people to come and then they join them again. For people who not let it here, I bring it down to my door. I'll clean my foot before I enter. Wear it here. Wear it here. They are where I'm coming from. Look at it here. You begging me to wear it here. You look at my phone now. Amen. All the people that coming outside today, they did the other people to come and then they join them again. For people who not let it here, I bring it down to my door. I'll clean my foot before I enter. Wear it here. Wear it here. They are where I'm coming from. Look at it here. You begging me to wear it here. You look at my phone now. Amen. All the people that coming on.
The government know. A letter was written in deception. You did not even included the caption of your. The government know. A letter was written in deception. You did not even included the caption of your. The government know. A letter was written in deception. You did not even included the caption of your. The government know. A letter was written in deception. You did not even included the caption of your. The government know. A letter was written in deception. You did not even included the caption of your.
They are where I'm coming from. Look at it here. You begging me to wear it here. You look at my phone now. Amen. All the people that coming outside today, they did the other people to come and then they join them again. For people who not let it here, I bring it down to my door. I'll clean my foot before I enter. Wear it here.
Members of the press, you are aware that our President Commander-in-Chief, Dr. George Manneh Weah, just ended his last annual message on just recently. Other political party leaders have been giving their own critiques about the message. And I think it's their responsibility to analyze the message from the chief.
If you not want betrayal, find a friend like me. Find a friend like me. Find a friend like me. If you not want betrayal, find a friend like me. Bombe oh, find a friend like me. Bombe jene oh, find a friend like me. Bombe, find a friend like me. Bombe jene oh, find a friend like me. bestie. Your bestie not sweet like my bestie. Your bestie la bestie.
Hey, it's Friday. It's Friday across the nation's capital, Liberia. This is Sponge TV. It's Friday in Monrovia, Friday across Liberia, Friday in Africa. This is Sponge TV. This is the program Trending Issues. My name is Vonnie Dix. I'd like to welcome you to the weekend presentation of the program Trending Issues. This, we say thank God it's Friday. It promises to be a firing one. We are coming on much earlier today due to the jamming platform that we have. Who wants to assassinate Senator Prince Johnson? That's the big question in Liberia. Who wants Senator Johnson dead? Hey. So this is it. Coming up shortly.
They won't step on my blessing, but I get a breaking.
We will comment on a number of issues ranging from the U.S. government's position, warning its citizens that are intending to come to Liberia that Roberts International Airport, according to the U.S. Embassy, is not a safe place right now, lacking international standards when it comes to safety issues as well as other security measures. We were also informed yesterday there was a standoff allegedly between the Minister of Transport Sam Wu and his deputy. I remember some time back similar incident occurred between the Minister of Information Louis Cassidy Brown and one of his assistant ministers Rex Basiger. And so coming up shortly, a prominent member but a critic of her own government, Honorable Karishma Penham-Rad, is going to be our guest on the first segment of the program this afternoon. She has been very critical of her own government, the Coalition for Democratic Change. She is also an aspiring candidate in District 10 of Montreal County, fronted to unseat a controversial Yeke Koluba. And so Karishma is going to be on the platform this afternoon. She's going to be talking about her stance against the Congress for Democratic Change. She has since described President Weah as a complete failure, describing his CDC-led government as a complete failure to the Liberian people. She said President Weah is running a corrupt government. She's going to be here this afternoon to express her fundamental problems with the CDC-led government. Also, we are hoping to join officials of the MDR to expand on their claims that there is a plot to assassinate Senator Prince Ward Johnson. Who wants Senator Johnson there? That's the big question. Later during the program, former Police Inspector General Gregory Coleman is going to comment on a number of government issues, from the economy to another issues unfolding in Liberia. Also on the program today, Montserrat County Senatorial aspirant, who is also a former deputy minister at the Ministry of Public Works, Mr. Roland Lafayette Giddens, is going to be our last guest on the program this afternoon. He's coming up at 5. So it's going to be a firing one. Good afternoon. Welcome. My name is Vonnie Dix. We are up to 6 o'clock this evening. So we will take this very brief break with a teaser. Bring you this teaser and then join you back on the program, express our thoughts. We are expecting that Madam Penham-Rad will join us very shortly on the program. So stay with us now as we run for this very brief break as we come back to you.
The bestie not sweet like my bestie. The bestie la 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 bestie. Fire friend like me.
Look at it here. They are where I'm coming from. Look at it here. You begging me to wear it here. You look at my now. Hey man. All the people are coming outside today. They did the other people to come and then they join them again. For people who not let it, I'm going to lay down to my door. I'll clean my food before I enter. Wear it here.
The government know. A letter was written in deception. You did not even include the caption of your. The government know. A letter was written in deception. You did not even include the caption of your.
Look at it here. They are where I'm coming from. Look at it here. You begging me to wear it here. You look at my phone now. Hey man. All the people are coming outside today. They did the other people to come and then they join them again. For people who not let it, I'm going to lay down to my door. I'll clean my food before I enter. Where it.
The government know. A letter was written in deception. You did not even include the caption of your.
Look at it here. They are where I'm coming from. Look at it here. You begging me to wear it here. You look at my phone now. Hey man. All the people are coming outside today. They did the other people to come and then they join them again. For people who not let it, I'm going to lay down to my door. I'll clean my food before I enter.
There's some people talking about, and that's just a coconut factory. Coconut factory is right on the other end. Those that every day making more, saying I work with Coca-Cola, and I work with Coca-Cola. You work with Coca-Cola, it is diverse. Liberals and find the chemical to mix chemical. Mixing chemical. I can mix Coca-Cola, I can make my own Coca-Cola. But they boast on the only thing they do to be on the board of Coca-Cola and the boasting. But to be on board of Coca-Cola, I can be on board of anything. I work with FIFA. You understand? But now.
It's fire friend like me. Fire friend like me. If you not want betrayal, fire friend like me. Fire friend like me.
Okay, Find a Friend Like Me by Teddy Ra. So this is it again. This is the program Trending Issues. My name is Vanin Dix, and let me again welcome you to the program. I will appreciate were you to share this live feed right now so that others can follow as well. So like I indicated in my intro, we are hoping to have District 10 representative aspirant, Madam Karishma Penham Rad is going to be with us very shortly. Also, we will have officials from the MDRO to further expand on the claims that there are plans to assassinate the governing chairperson of the MDRO. Also, former Inspector General Gregory Kuma is going to be our guest on the program by 4:15. After Gregory, former Deputy Public Works Minister Roland Lafayette Giddings will talk about his quest for Montreal County senatorial seat. Also, the CDC-led government has bragged that it has paved this largest percentage of road as compared to the Unity Party-led government. And Mr. Giddings was Deputy Minister under President Salif at the time at the level of the Ministry of Public Works. So we'd like to hear from him as well on that issue. A day or two ago, the U.S. Embassy released a security alert to its citizens, informing them that the RRA is not a secure place. The RRA is not a safe place. And so they are admonishing their citizens that are intending to come to Liberia, as well as those that are intending to leave the country via the RRA, that they have to be mindful about the status of the RRA. So here is the issue. Such statement or communication from the U.S. Embassy poses a total negative reflection on the country. It poses a negative reflection and prevents the issue of investors coming to your country. No serious government will sit down and allow their international airport to go to a status where it raises concern for your international partners, that they begin to tell their citizens that you don't need to come to this country via this international airway or this international airport because of security implications. This has a way of scaring away investors from the country. It has a way of telling foreign partners that this society or this country is not a safe place for you to even invest your money. There is no serious government that will wait for their country to go at that level, that the US government will have to inform international partners that this airport is not a safe place. The RRA, this government have got to do all it can to make sure that these kind of negative reflections are not coming up on the country. Already you don't have, statistics wise, you don't have a very considerable number of flights that comes to your country. Sometimes you go to the RRA, 2 or 3 flights a day is done. And let me say something. When the CDC-led government and fanatics of the WIA-led government say that the CDC-led government has done well, the RRA, or International Airport, as a matter of fact, gives you a picture as to whether that country is thriving economically. Let me say this again. If people are not coming to your country on a regular basis, it tells you a whole lot about the security situation in that country. It tells you a whole lot about the economic situation in that country. If you were to board a flight from Europe coming towards Africa, West Africa, you will notice that immediately you get to Ghana, the flight is almost empty before coming to Monrovia. For those who have traveled, I've experienced that. Not once, not twice. If you travel out of this country, by the time you leave, you come to maybe Kenya, the Jomo Kenyatta Airport, a very significant number of people are going to come down. Yes. Immediately you get to Ghana, another group of people will come down. By the time the flight is arriving at the RRA, it is almost empty. That tells you that people are not attracted to your country. Liberia is not a place of serious tourist destination. Why? Because this government, while in opposition, had said to the people that we are going to make this place a tourist destination. But this is not the case. And I keep repeating, many of the promises that were made while the CDC was in opposition, these things are not coming to fruition. To be told that your airport have got security implications, this is not something any serious government will wait to be told by international partners. You want to make sure that you are always proactive, always on top of your game, and not to wait for you to be told about that. Already, like I said, you don't have much flights that come to the country. Sometimes 2 or 3 flights a day to RRA, it's done. Then you are being told that for security reasons, US citizens should be mindful of coming to the country or leaving the country. So this is something that requires the government to do more with the limited time that the CDC-led government have got. We know that most of the areas that CDC is going to be placing attention on are going to be those things that they believe have got some level of dividends when it comes to elections, election projects, elections intervention. These are things that the government is going to be heavily involved with. Today also, I watched a program being organized by people who call themselves first-time voters that say they are going to be lending their support to the Congress for Democratic Change. I have said this repeatedly. Back in 2005, 2006, I was still in Freetown, Sierra Leone. But I said, if I were in Liberia during the 2016 election, I would have voted for President Weah out of ignorance. Back then, I did not understand nothing about governance. Nothing did I know about politics. None did I know anything about the economy. I did not know the factors that influence the smooth function of these things. So when I was in Freetown during the 2005-2006 election, I was like, I wish I was in Liberia to vote for President Weah, but that would have been done out of ignorance. And that happened in 2006 with many young people that took to the street. Our constitution says 18 years and above, and you have to be a Liberian citizen. It's a Liberian citizen. I beg your pardon. But here is the issue. How many of these young people know how to critique a government? How many of these people have true understanding on what to look for in what makes a good leader? These people don't follow politics. They don't have understanding about the economy. They don't have understanding about the trending issues of current affairs. What is their yardstick for voting a particular person? It's something that crosses across, not just for Weah, but even to other political parties as well. I question the experience and the understanding of many young people. What is their level of understanding? If you ask these young people, why are you voting for this person? I just like the man. Let's try the person. Back in 2017, those were some of the responses we got when we were talking to people in the streets. So, and that was what brought about when we heard the issue at the time that parents were seizing their children's voter card, which I believe should not have happened. It was more like you infringing on their rights to vote. It is not something we should encourage, but also we should discuss what level of understanding do these young people have when it comes to critiquing the government. What do you look for in what makes a good leader? It is something we need to keep discussing. It is troubling. It is troubling. It is troubling. It is troubling when you see young people that have no understanding about politics, about governance, but yet they are being used as stooges. They are being used as stooges. Most of these things are pre-organized by people in the background. You know, when you're in power, you have the cash to spend it loosely. When you're in power, you have the cash to spend it loosely. And these are the things we see unfolding in the society today. One deputy minister, one assistant minister just use some $1,500 or $2,000, mobilize people in his community. Another deputy minister in his community say, I will do the same. I will get these young people. And people are hungry. They will get in the street. People are actually hungry and they will get in the street. You can't use this thing and say they will translate into vote on election day. This is one thing people have to be mindful of. We see people pulling numbers, but these things cannot be equated to say on election day, it is going to be translating into vote for you. Many of these people are doing these things because they want to have little cash. They are hungry. They need food. So don't use this and say you saw the people that were in the street. No. It is not something that you can automatically equate and say it's going to translate into vote for you. So people have got to be mindful of how they reach a conclusion to say, yeah, we were pulling crowd. You people saw it there. And then coming back to what seemed to be a pre-election campaigning. Let me be very objective on this. It is not just the CDC. So this is why the Election Commission have got to be very explicit as to what constitutes pre-election campaigning. Because we saw the ANC organize a rally and they had their campaign materials as well. People were wearing the t-shirts of Mr. Cummings. Also, we saw the Unity Party at the program with JNB. People were wearing the Unity Party t-shirt. So what constitutes pre-election campaigning? The NEC have got to come up with what constitutes pre-election campaigning. Yes, we can say this. that for me, I believe on the aspect of the CDC, those billboards that are being erected, being planted, President Weah should use the money, redirect it to people who are suffering on a daily basis. There are people right now in local communities, they just need $20 to pay their bills. They can't have it. They are being stuck there. There are people at the JFK. They just need $50 to settle their bill. I saw District 6 Representative Reverend Samuel Enders posting a video of a young lady who went to give birth but could not pay $1,500 or $2,000 Liberian dollars to settle her medical bill. As such, she was left unattended to by medical personnel. These are the things that people in Liberia are faced with on a daily basis. And as such, you would expect a government that is sensitive to the plight of the people to make interventions in these areas. And not to be using taxpayers' monies and using it to decorate the streets with billboards that have no exponential impact on the livelihood of the people. The CDC-led government, in this regard, that is my position on it. But regarding pre-campaign activities, NEC has to be clear as to what constitutes pre-campaign activities, because we saw ANC did the same. We saw Unity Party doing the same as well. People were wearing JNB t-shirt. People were wearing Communist t-shirt. But with the CDC, the billboards that we see along the way, the fund that was used to do that could be used to go in the community, give 25 kg bag of rice to that struggling lady, to that struggling man, visit health centers, people who are struggling to settle their medical bills and help them. And not to be using taxpayers' money loosely. This country cannot keep doing the same thing. We can't be doing the same thing as we did since the Joseph Jenkins Roberts day. Election is in October. 9 months from now. I have been very repetitive about it that President Weah is going to be judged by the economy. Not those issues surrounding, oh, he made some intervention with the roads and this and that. It's the bread and butter issue, which was much heralded while they were in opposition, that this government would have translated Liberians from abject poverty to a glorious future, to a glorious destiny. This has not been forthcoming. Also, the Unity Party released a statement on today calling on international partners, which I believe that press statement is a very mature press statement, calling on the international partners, meaning they did not resort to leveling some level of accusation on the government. But the Unity Party is asking international partners like the UN and other embassies that are near this capital to launch an investigation into this matter to ascertain the veracity surrounding the claim from the MDR that there are plots. And there is a list also that is also in the public space carrying the name of even our very own CEO, the name of Mo Ali, the name of people in the opposition. We have been told it is a hit list. As to whether that list is authentic, it is yet to be verified. As to whether that list is something that is out there from the government's arm, it is yet to be verified. And so this is why the Unity Party-led government, and even some of us are saying, the government has to be clear on this. The government has to release a statement regarding this. This is a grave allegation from the MDR that requires a response, a timely, real-time response from the government to say where it stands on these things. Already we have this issue of mysterious death all over the place. And here you having these issues. So while we await Madam Ra to join us this afternoon, the former man who was second in command at Lisgis, Mr. Alex Williams, has also been very critical of his government. We will take Alex alongside Madam Ra while we await her appearance this afternoon. I'm trying to connect him and get some of his fundamental issues that he has with the CDC government. Good afternoon, Mr. Williams. Welcome to Trending Issues.
So thank you so much, Mr. Diggs. Let me say good afternoon to all of the folks back home in Liberia, to those in the diaspora, whether it is morning, whether it is afternoon, whether it is nighttime. I extend felicitation to them, and I wish them well. And I'm optimistic that this year is a year of redemption for Liberia and Liberians, and that in the coming months, things are going to get better for Liberians, and that good will triumph. Good will triumph over evil, because the forces of good, history have told us time and time again that the forces of good will always triumph over the forces of evil. And so we are optimistic to be on the platform this afternoon, and we are set and ready to share our thought and perspective on trending national issues in our territorial landscape of the Republic of Liberia.
Okay. I hope your internet will afford us the opportunity to have a smooth interview this afternoon, Mr. Williams. So I follow one of your many posts on Facebook in which you were rendering apology to Liberians for the fact that you had to support President Weah to become president in Liberia. Let me have you expand on this Facebook post that you had on some few days ago.
I would have thought that I will always remain with the CDC. As a matter of fact, for some of us, the CDC is our way of life. It's synonymous, it is similar, it is like a lifestyle for some of us. And we grew up in the CDC, knowing no other political party on the national landscape. You know, I recall at the University of Liberia, we were taught social science, 6 disciplines. I think it should be social science 201 or something like that. And one of those disciplines had got to do with political science. And I remember our instructor told us that politics is practiced on 3 levels: on the local level, national, international level. And so on the national level, we joined the Mighty Coalition for Democratic Change. But prior to that, we were a full-fledged member of the Congress for Democratic Change. We believe in the ideology of the Congress for Democratic Change. What were those ideology? Those ideology was to ensure that when we should have assumed the mantle of state power, that we will fight corruption, we will better the life of the people, we will prosecute those who were found guilty of mayhem and atrocity committed during the 14-year civil crisis. As a matter of fact, some of us went to prison along with Chairman Modibo Modu and others, pushing for the establishment of the War and Economic Crime Code in our country. And so these were things that motivated young revolutionaries like us when we were at the level of the university affiliating with Vanguard Student Education Party. And fast forward,
yeah, go ahead.
We had the opportunity to take state power in 2017. A new government was ushered in, a government of the people, by the people, and for the people, overwhelmingly voted. As a matter of fact, I was privileged to be the head of the CDC War Room in 2017. And I can recall we won 99.24%. We got 99.24% of the results within 24 hours. And we defeated the Unity Party in 14 counties. Out of 5,390 polling places, we were left with only 44 after we tallied all of our results. And when we did the analysis, we decided that even if we gave all of the remaining polling places that we did not get the results for, there will be no way that the Unity Party would have even come close to us. And so we already knew that we would have won the election, and we have won the election before the announcement was to be made by the National Election Commission. And so we headed that process along with young revolutionaries and cadres of the CDC. And then we took power. I am very disgusted. I'm very disappointed listening to the president last State of the Nation address on two different issues. And the reason I'm more disappointed and more angry because these two issues are issues that I lived through, that I passed through, that I experienced. And I felt the president was so deceptive. And I said to myself that at this point, I can no longer continue to support this president. At this point, enough is enough. And I must be patriotic. I must be honest to say to the Liberian people and to apologize to them. Because to apologize is worse when it is necessary to do so than to be adamant. And so I have come to the realization that President Weah does not mean well for Liberia. He has allowed the likes of Samuel Twe, who is corruption King Kong, and the likes of other indiscipline and discontrol and pseudo-revolutionary actors to misguide him. And he has followed them. And our country is at a place where we did not want to see it. That was not the reason, and that was not the basis for our support to President Weah. I'm disappointed in President Weah. He decided to apologize cardinally on two major fronts. Number one, he was very deceptive in the State of the Nation address with the issue that has to do with the fight against corruption. I challenged the government to show me a single government official in the government of the CDC that has been investigated, sent to court, prosecuted, found guilty, and it is either restituting funds or it's either behind, but just a single individual. I am not asking for two persons, just a single individual. If that is not happening, what President Weah and the likes of other people are telling me is that everyone who's working with the government are all saints. They are all good people. A dime has not been stolen. And we know all of the various reports. But if a president who should be leading the fight against corruption, the Liberia Anti-Corruption Commission will come up with a report after giving people an opportunity to exonerate themselves against allegations levied against them. They brought in documents. They hired lawyers using state funds, for example, alleges. And the LACC will investigate and find probable cause and release a report. And then the president will come and say that he cannot take some executive action to showcase that he's genuine and serious about the fight against corruption. And today, for almost a year, it has been swept under the carpet. And people are passing all over the place, and the president will have a State of the Nation address and tell the Liberian people that he's serious about the fight against corruption. That's disservice, and that's disappointing. And I'm also taken aback and disappointed when the president will come and inform our Liberian people and the world at large that the census was successful. Folks even alleges have all admitted on national radio. Apparently, the president is not following. But he should listen to EFBC when folks alleges went and appeared and acknowledge that the census had a challenge and the census is successful. But today, the executive, the chief executive of our country, will come and say the census is successful when people in Liberia, even the child born today, is aware that the census is a failure. Today, over several months of census count, we cannot know the population of our country today. In fact, some of us have brought documentary evidence, videos, pages, audios, to show people manipulating census results, not just in River G, not just in Bapolu, but many other places. And today, the president, who is not 5 minutes away from Legis's head office, who could have just walked and ascertained the fact for himself, could not do that, but will come and inform the Liberian people and the world at large that he's genuine and serious about the fight against corruption, when they are shooting the fight against corruption in the legs and even attempting harder and harder to remove the chairperson of the Liberia Anti-Corruption Commission because he's standing tall and fighting corruption head on. So I'm disappointed. And that is the reason I must
Mr. Williams,
bring people, not just today, but for many other times that we'll have the opportunity to do so. And to not just apologize to the Liberian people, because saying sorry is just one step. But going forward to ensuring that that mistake that we made, we correct it. And we correct it by sanitizing the process. We correct it by ensuring that hygiene is restored to our body politics. We correct it by ensuring that we have a fast-acted leadership who will lead our country to prosperity, who will lead our country to progress, and who will lead our country to massive development and growth. And these are the things we are interested in. And for every single moment we have the opportunity to speak to our people, we will do so and erect the necessary checkpoint.
Okay.
And ensure that we give them sufficient information and ammunition necessary, intellectual ammunition, political ammunition.
Mr. William, let me pause you there.
Necessary to move our country forward.
Yeah. When all of these things were going on, you served as one of the deputies. As a matter of fact, you were second in command at Legis, also a key person within the party. What did you do in terms of engagement prior to your resignation from government?
Is it okay?
Yeah, you are okay. You're live now.
Many of you may not know, but this is not a situation that started in 2021 or in 2022. As a matter of fact, this started since 2018. In fact, I can recall that I resigned in August 2019 as Census Project Coordinator. Many of you did not know because we did not publicize this resignation. But the emails, evidence, and trace are there. In fact, our character was being maligned in Front Page Africa. If some of you remember in August of 2019, when we said the census was going to be a failure as far back as 2019, we engaged the leadership of our party. Not only did we engage the leadership of our party, we engaged strategic and important personalities in the rank and file of the government. Not only did we do so, but we also talked to like-minded individuals to ensure that hygiene.
What were the response that you got? What were the response?
They were all negative. People are all sycophants. They are all misleading. They are all giving mis and disinformation to people. They are all lying to people. And trust me, the problem from the CDC and the defeat from the CDC will come from within. It is internal contradiction that will destroy the CDC. And we are going to an election where today, majority of the parties who are part of the coalition is refusing to sign. Senator Johnson, MDR have just left. Today, NPP, as we speak, FPDP are having issues. Today, there are many people who are leaving government. As a matter of fact, I was just following a trending national issue where there was some scuffle today at the Ministry of Transport, a deputy minister and the minister of proper fighting. So these are things we need.
Mr. William, we'll pause it there for now and just welcome Mr. Kelvin DJ Matadi. Kelvin, warm greetings. Welcome to Trending Issues.
Thank you very much. Thank you. And thank to those who are in Radio Land.
Karishma Pelnam, good afternoon. Welcome. This is Trending Issues.
Thank you very much.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're live.
Okay, thank you for having me. Thank you very much.
Okay, so you have been listening to Williams. From your own angle, ranging from your quest for the representative bid in District 10, Montserrat County. We will also get your take as well on President Weah's State of Nation address. But Mr. Weah,
Studio. No, sir. You can see something. Internet in the country together. I think that's funny. Hey, Anna.
Things to come in a more correct way, not in a corrupt way. They're expected to be treated in a more welcoming way, but all of a sudden our party just doing things in interest of individuals and not the interest of the Liberian people in the country. So when we try to raise the issues with some of our leaders, they see it like it is not your place. You are not supposed to be the one giving out advices. They don't listen. And sometimes they feel like they're being disrespected. Why it's coming from you and all of that. And I'm a young woman. Apart from that, I'm a leader and a role model to a lot of people. And I won't sit there and see my country fall completely only because I want to support my party and leaving the people to fall. And I'm the my own politics is a bit different. I believe in standing for what is right. Because my loyalty is not with an individual, even though I'm from a particular party, but my loyalty is with the country and its people and what is right. So there's so much that have been happening. Like you actually say, what is my view when it comes to the president speech recently?
Yeah, we'll come to the president's speech.
Okay.
But I want to know, are you still an official member of the CDC?
Yes, I'm not leaving my party.
You're not leaving the party?
No, I'm not leaving my party. The truth remains is the party is not an individual. It's a party. And it doesn't mean because we come out and we express our differences, we let people know that this is wrong, and we will not sit there and allow our people to suffer, meaning we are going to leave the party. No, it left for the party if they feel like I'm not supposed to be part of them, or they feel like my advocates in them doing the right thing is against them totally, and they feel like I'm not in their interest, they can suspend me from the party. I don't have a problem.
Is the problem actually coming from President Weah or the folks that are within his cycle?
President Weah is the arrowhead, especially he's not just the president, but he's also the head of the party. So in being the head, there is a lot of things that can be put in place by the president. If this is what he wants, if this is because when he came in, he gave a lot of promises to the people. He gave a lot of hope. The expectations of the people have not been met. The people feel they are being abused. You go out there, people can barely afford food. Things are hard. The system is messed up. We don't even have system anymore. And there's just so much. There is no investment coming in. There is no companies coming in. People expect more.
Okay. So
Yes.
in addition to this,
Yes.
what are other issues? Because I saw one of your Facebook posts in which you said, and I quote, George Weah as a president is a failure to Liberia. He and his entire government is completely corrupt.
Yes, when we talk about corruption, we had 3 of our officials that were being sanctioned for corruption. He did not mention that in his sonor. These are things he should be talking about, especially when you try to say that you are fighting corruption. How can you be fighting corruption and supporting people that are corrupt in your government? We also saw a lot of things happening when the president took power. He started building duplexes. He started building different houses around. He started buying cars, properties, or different stuff that been happening. And these are not what the poor people signed up for. I will give you a typical example of the past president before he took over. You cannot show duplexes that Her Excellency Ellen Johnson Sirleaf built in this country. So you cannot do corruption in the eyes of the people and make them to feel like you don't care. It's just about you. It's just about you and certain people. This is not what the Liberian people sign up for.
Since you started this, do you receive threats? Are you being threatened? Or?
Of course, yes. I've been abused consistently on social media. I've been targeted. I've had people driving next to my car telling me they would shoot me in the head. I've had people sending me threatening messages. And those are things that consistently happen. And I'm not afraid.
So what are you waiting for to leave the party? Because elections will be around the corner.
I'm not leaving. I made myself very clear.
What do you want to do now? You can't fix things all by yourself. That's how it appears.
No, the party is already on a dying line. When I say a dying line, there are cliques. There are cliques in the party. Everybody has their own people that they want to work with. Everybody has their own cliques that they want to work with, and the groupings and stuff like that. I'm looking at the betterment of the country. How can things be improved? Like, for example, when the president made mention in his sonor that we have 24-hour electricity in the country, is Monrovia, Liberia? Is Monrovia the entire Liberia? How many counties do we have electricity in currently? Even the Monrovia, Macerado, we don't have proper electricity till now. We are still struggling.
Okay, Madam Rad, I will bring you along again. Let me bring in Kelvin. Kelvin, good afternoon from the NDR's angle. Good afternoon, welcome.
Yeah, good afternoon, Vanindis. How are you doing?
I'm excellent, Chief. Your press conference on yesterday have got the nation on its tool that there are some security implications that we have to be concerned about. How trustworthy is your source that Senator Johnson, there is a plot to assassinate him?
Thank you very much for the question and for the opportunity on your show. Like we already said in our statement yesterday, we have a major press conference yesterday, like you rightly quoted. We were in an executive committee meeting yesterday at the party headquarters in Congo Town, and we received an intelligence that our political and lead vision bearer and godfather of Nima County, the Senator Prince Y. Johnson, because of the recent, discussion in the press in terms of elevating some of the vices, some of the things that happened in the country. There was an attempt to arrest him yesterday. There was also an attempt to assassinate him, and all the information came from a very, very reliable source.
Go ahead.
And you will not ask me who is the source, and we respect the president.
I know you wouldn't reveal that, so I won't do that.
And one thing yesterday was people from within the government, outside, inside, they begin to call. And we told our old man, we call in Nima County, and we call our people back home that the senator were at the party headquarters, and they even asked us to come at the party headquarters. We said no. What the reason? But it's very important to let you know that Senator Johnson been on the air, he been amplifying, he been elevating the story of Nima, not just Nima, of the part of.
So basically, Kelvin, I want us to run through this quickly. Basically,
Yes, sir.
what is the MDRO intending to do now?
We are in discussion with our lawyer. Once our lawyer advisor properly pronounced to the next weekend, or pronounced to Wednesday, like the executive committee, reach a decision for us to advise our lawyer or our lawyer to advise her, we will definitely come to the press and will inform the press officially.
Many people have turned your leader, Senator Johnson, as a con artist in their words. I would like to know from you, how is it not some kind of trick that Senator Johnson eventually might be leaning on the side of the CDC as we edge onto election in October?
Vanity, let me tell you something. As a politician, you got to be smart and you got to always follow the trend of events. The recent comments that have been coming from the lead vision bearer of our party, if we compare the past statements from the current statement, if you are President Weah or the ruling establishment, if you say, oh, Senator Johnson is on the number trend, then you must be joking. Senator Johnson has been consistent for the last 6-7 weeks. Not 6-7 weeks, but since we came from Ganta, our executive committee met and we endorsed a position that yes, we are independent of since the Ganta Convention. We said we are not in a collaboration or merger with the ruling establishment no more, because this is a government that don't respect us as a party, don't respect our people back home. They owe us $7 more million. They have not been able to pay our people back home. And there are some vices that have been creeping the governance structure of the country. Vanny, you know that we went to war because of corruption. Corruption is one of the things that's been creeping, not just creeping, but all over. The president has not been able to demonstrate this political will to deter some of the agents in the governance structure of the country. And we went to war in the country because of these vices. So what's wrong with that if our political leaders say, we are not supporting you no more? We take a bad step to look at to redefine us as a political party.
Kelvin, before I take leave of you quickly, does this mean this is a done deal now between the MDR and the CDC?
Say that again?
Is it a done deal? Is the MDR no longer going to go the way of the CDC because of this?
I think if you listen to Senator Johnson yesterday on one of our sister station, I think particularly on Spoon, he even elevated that on Verse FM, that we are not supporting the ruling establishment. We will not support President Weah's second term bid. He said that last night. And let me inform you yet, it's quite important to let you know that the executive committee of our party took a decision yesterday because, like our vision bearer said, the ruling establishment have been able to infiltrate our party. There are elements within the party who want to create a distraction. So the executive committee met yesterday. It's very important to let you know, Vanny, that there was a suspension, all right, an endorsement for the executive committee. We suspended 2 of our executive committee members, and they are Wilfred Bangura and Mary Yelu. Wilfred Bangura happens to be the vice chair for governmental affairs. And Mary Yelu, I think he is one of the assistant ministers in this government, and he also the secretary general, suspended secretary general of our party now. It's quite important to let you know.
Kelvin, due to time, we'll have to let you go. I'm told that you have a meeting with the senator.
Thank you very much. Thank you. It's always a pleasure to be with you.
But before Kelvin leave the studio, I don't know if
he left already. What do you want to say, Mr. Williams?
No, I just wanted to say to Kelvin that we are following him, his standard bearer, Senator Jeremiah Kuhn. He's someone that we admire so much. We listen to him on Spoon, and he's the kind of president I think Liberia needs. He's very pragmatic, and he's very solution-oriented.
Thank you. Let me come back to Madam Penom Rad. I will come back to you, Chief Williams. You were in speech, Madam Rad, talking about your let me get your take now on Mr. Weah's address on Monday. Let us get this moving at the speed of light.
We will say that we listened to the president speech, and we have said 3 hours. I don't know who came up with that. 2 or 3 hours speech. And we expected the president to speak about the issues. Firstly, talk about 1 or 2 things that he had achieved, and also come out and talk about his some of the obstacles that he have had, or that he's encountering when it comes to development, when it comes to education and our economy, and seeking for support from other entities and international communities, not doing self-praise, and speaking directly to the issues on some of the major issues we have when it comes to electricity, when it comes to water, when it comes to our role, our international airport, and speak the facts. You don't give the international community false information. You tell them that the country now has...
It's our economy is an exception in Africa.
Exactly, which is... sorry for the information. Which is a Lord of mercy, which is a complete wrong information for you to even put out there. That tells you that he's not even ready. That he's not even ready to do anything for the Liberian people.
Liberians gave President Weah a second chance.
I will tell you for a fact that it is not advisable for Liberians to even think about that, because that is more like, right now, Liberia is in a complete darkness. There is a dark cloud over our country.
He shouldn't be given a second chance.
No, he should not be given.
Who do you think then?
For now, I will reserve my comments for who should be given a second chance, but we have a lot of others that is coming up. The Liberian people with choose who's the best, and they will be able to elect someone else that has a vision, that has the ability to bring change to this country, that will look out for the young people of this country, that will be able to make some difference.
Mr. Williams, elections will be held in October. What role are you going to be playing now that you say you don't want this man back in power?
So first thing, I announced upon my arrival in Italy on Monday that all opposition political party leaders are my potential standard bearers. And that includes the likes of Ambassador Joseph Yima Boyka, Honorable Alexander B. Cummins,
Tiawan Gonglo,
Jeremiah Kun,
okay.
You can name them.
Okay.
They are my potential standard bearer. As we speak, I am supporting all opposition parties and leaders. Second round, whoever goes to second round, if it is an opposition political party in the CDC, whoever that person will be, I will be campaigning for that individual.
Okay, let me.
If it is a 2 opposition political party that goes to the second round, which statistically is highly possible from what I'm sensing, because some of us are doing multiple survey analysis right now in Liberia. I will also take a side, but as we speak, I am for all opposition political party and leaders.
Is it the same with you, Madam?
I must also say this, that I listened to Senator Jeremiah Kun on Spoon, and I was so impressed by his practical solution to solving Liberia problem when it came to the issue about health, when it came to the issue of agriculture. He sounds to me like Simon Fremont, who has his wealth creation strategy that I just read a few days ago. These are practical solutions to Liberian problem and Liberia problem. You cannot be the chief executive. For instance, you are just less than 5 minutes away from Legis, and you have a deputy who has served you as head of your war room, and they say XYZ things are happening, who should be your eye, and you cannot just maybe take a walk For instance, say this man is saying this generator is old. It was on Facebook for 15,000. Now people are saying it's 30,000+, and there was no PPCC bidding process and whatever. You cannot just take a walk and go there. It means President Weah has long lost the script. And that is why, like Ambassador Karishma would say, it would be a cataclysmic wrong.
Okay. Let me bring
for
in
Liberians to give President Weah another year.
Okay, Alex. Let me bring in Madam Rad on this one. Let me hear from her if she's going to also campaign against President Weah. Will you be campaigning against President Weah in October?
In few months from now, I will be giving my support to the candidate that I'm going to be supporting for the presidency.
Okay. Automatically, it means you're going to be campaigning against
Yes,
it.
and I will be doing a press conference for that.
Okay.
It's not just going to be a post. It's going to be a press conference, and we're going to be calling on every young person of this country, our followers, every single individual that believe in our movement to come out and support.
What is the relationship with you and Senator Johnson? I see you calling him your political father.
By relationship, he's my uncle.
Okay.
And he's married to my aunt, my mom's small sister. So he's like a father to me, apart from politics.
Okay.
Yes. And so being a godfather in politics, I have to go back home, ask for his blessings, get some knowledge as I'm growing into the political, into my political joining and with my political career. I go back and I get some advices. So he served as my political father.
Let me use this last segment to talk about your interventions in the district where you are.
Firstly, before you go to the district, I'd like to make just few points for the SONA. You didn't give me a chance.
Go ahead.
So, like I was saying, when the president made mention that we had 24-hour electricity, that is more like giving the Liberian people no hope, because we all know very well where we stand when it comes to electricity in this country. Even right here, Hotel Africa, they don't have electricity. Then you talk about Liberia has 24 hours electricity. And then we talk about the RIA, which is a death trap. When we spoke about it, we have people bashing on social media. We have some of the people from my own party coming up on social media. They don't discuss issues. They go personal. They will insult you and stuff like that. But these are things that we used to, because I'm just someone who is growing politically. But we have sat back and watched and see how our president, our mother, when Ma Ellen was in power, she was insulted consistently for over 11 years and a half, and there was so much done. And at that time, my party was in the opposition side, so there was the opposition at the time, and there was so much done from the end towards her. So we saw a lot of insults going that way. So if people from my party coming up on social media to insult me, it's not cringe. These are things that I know what they are capable of. These are things I know that they do. So it is not cringe. And we don't pay attention to these things. Like I made mention on one of my posts, I said, what can water do to rock or iron? So I don't pay attention. And I have learned so much from the past president, Her Excellency, Madam Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. She ruled in a different way. She responded to things in a more diplomatic way. And I see her as a role model. So there's a lot of things I'm trying to follow her footsteps. I speak on issues and that. And then we talk about the road issues. We talk about the airport. We can't have a country where our airport goes out of electricity. There's so much happening. Sometimes when the plane landing, there is no light. They got to call them before they put generator on and all of that. You are risking the life of so many people. The road alone is a complete disaster. Security wise, it's not where to be at night, because there is no when we talk about security, there is no patrol. You don't have patrol. You don't have major spots around the road where, just in case when something happens, you have people around that are going to help you. Anybody can put a breach. Anybody can put a checkpoint and act like they are police and harm people, harm citizens, harm our international guests coming into the country.
Great.
So when we said that, they think it was wrong, but we saw what happened yesterday when the U.S. embassy came up with a statement warning the citizens and other international guests on the danger at the RIA road, and that sends a very negative symptom towards us as a country. So that's tell you for a fact that George Weah is a failure. He has failed the Liberian people, and he's not being honest in what he's supposed to do for the Liberian people.
Okay. Dr. Lester Tenney wants to contribute on the program. I'm hoping that he will come back live because the visual is not coming from his head. But let me talk about your intervention quickly before maybe if we can have it as well to respond. Your interventions in the county while you strive to unseat Yeke.
Oh, we are doing our best. We have done some engagements. We are going to continue our engagement with the people. We made it clear to them we get into our different communities. We are able to talk to our people in a different manner. We talk to them. We let them know that we don't have the money. We are not coming to give them false hope. But we are willing to make the change. When we are at the parliament, we're going to make sure that we can make better laws that will be able to benefit the young people of this country, especially when it comes to education, our health sector, when it comes to technology, because Liberia is far behind when it comes to technology, when it comes to our educational sector. We better have a proper public library. We better have a good facility when it comes to public schools and stuff like that. So these are things we're going to be working with when we at the parliament. That's why most of our workings is surrounding the student community. We do a lot of work with most of the different student organizations and institutions.
What do you see about the legislature? If you were to provide your own perspective analysis, what can you say about the Liberian legislature?
I think comes 2023, there's a lot of people that needs to be changed. The Liberian people has to see those that really in the interest. We need people with like minds. We need a lot of people that are going to be voted into the parliament again. It should be people who have a different mindset, not people who just going to sit there and go blank on policy making and go blank on the future of our young generation. We want people who have an open mindset, who knows that, yes, this is what needs to be done to make a change. And that change going to start with me by us putting in this. And they're going to fight along and make sure that we have the proper laws and policy put in place and an international system set to be able to push Liberia forward.
Okay. So the district in which you are intending to contest is being headed by someone who is a controversial figure, also with a well-known name across. How do you see the journey that is ahead of you in District 10?
I can tell you for a fact that Yeke has his own issues, but Yeke is a serious contender.
Okay.
Yes. Apart from Yeke, I don't see anyone else in that district. So my main focus is Yeke. No one should tell you that Yeke is not a contender. Yeke is a serious contender.
Okay.
The Liberian people.
You're being frank.
Yes, I'm being frank. He's a serious contender. And I'm going to say it because he speaks sometimes. He wants to talk to the major issues, but he just don't know how to get his words out there.
Okay.
And sometimes he speaks on issues that are really affecting the people,
So
but it's the manner in which he gets the word.
Him?
It's because he's not taking the rightful approach, and sometimes he forget that he's representing over 33,000 people, not just himself. So when you want to address issues, when you want to advocate for the betterment of the people, you have to make the people to understand the issue, how you are advocating on that issue, what's the importance of the issue, why it is that they should be involved in the policy making of that issue. So the manner in which you're going to place the information is how they're going to take it, is how they're going to see that you are speaking for them. But the manner in which he does his advocacy, insulting media personalities and just go about insulting people back to back, people don't get his message.
Okay.
So because of that, he's not giving a result that we're supposed to get at the parliament to represent District 10 fully. So in that's where I come in, and I'm definitely I am going to replace him.
Madam Karishma, trust me, I will have to rearrange for us to have an expansion to this interview. You are a good talker. I didn't expect that. Yeah, you could do this. I've been following your page. Like I said, you are a friend with my wife on Facebook, but it was just on today that you added me. But before I take leave of you and take the former police chief, finally, what message would you like to send to your supporters across the district and Liberia at large?
Whoever that's listening or wherever you're going to be, wherever you're watching from, I'm speaking to all Liberians. This is a moment of change. We should look at, because we have a democratic form of government and we need more education in our 15 counties, because a lot of our people don't know the value of the votes. A lot of our young people, so they just go about just voting anybody. So, John is friends with this person. So I will be voting this mayor because they say he will bring farm for us. So you look at the individual, the differences. What do you think that, why should I vote for this person? You study about the person background. What are some of the changes you think they can make? Are this person bored enough to look at their peer to tell them, no, you are not doing it right, you are doing it right? Can this person actually stand up for the Liberian people? Before you vote someone into power, it shouldn't just be about themselves. It shouldn't be just about popularity. It should be about you wanting a change. We are asking every Liberian out there, students, communities, or where you're from, what kind of organization you're from. Once you are a Liberian, we are asking you to stand up this time. Let your vote means the word for change. Only you can make that change. And the change we want to see in Liberia is by electing someone that has the heart of this country, that has the heart of the people.
Thank you. Thank you so very kindly. Like I indicated, I will be hopeful that we can rearrange to have you on another time to really expand on some of these issues. I really wanted to take you on an expanded note. The former police chief is here. We have entered his time.
No
but
problem.
Thank you so very kindly for coming. On a very short notice on yesterday when I called you, you actually accepted to come. Thank you so very kindly.
Thanks to Punch FM and TV for having me today.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Thank you. We will run for a very short break. When we come back, we usher in the former police chief on the platform this afternoon. Stay with us. This is Punch TV. The program is Trending Issue.
Fire free, let me. Fire free, let me.
Hey, see bestie. Your bestie not sweet like my bestie. Your bestie la bestie. Fire free, let me.
I say, see bestie wanting to happy. Fire free, let me. I hear them say they want me go, I say,
Some of them say they want me go,
I say,
Some French general, Some French general, Some French general, French general, Hey, see bestie, your bestie not sweet like my bestie. Your bestie la bestie, fire friend.
I say, see bestie wanting to happy. Fire free, let me. They won't step on my blessing, but God get it breaking. They won't call it my blessing, but God get it breaking.
French, see French, can't see Papa T French.
They are where I'm coming from. Look at it here. You begging me to wear it here. You look at my phone now. Hey man, all the people are coming outside today. They did the other people to come and then they join them again. For who are not let it. I bring later to my door. I'll clean my food before I enter. Wear it here.
The government know. A letter was written in deception. You did not even include the caption of your. The government know. A letter was written in deception. You did not even include the caption of your the government? No. A letter was written in deception. You did not even include the caption of your.
There's some people talking about, oh, you know, and that's just a Coca-Cola factory. Coca-Cola factory is right on the other end. Those that every day making more, saying, I work with Coca-Cola, and I work with Coca-Cola. You work with Coca-Cola, you think the Liberia and find the chemical to mix chemical. It's not mixing chemical. I can make Coca-Cola, I can make my own Coca-Cola. But they boast on the only thing they do to be on the board of Coca-Cola and the boasting. But to be on board of Coca-Cola, I can be on board anything. I work with FIFA. You understand? But now being on the board, if you're on the board and Coca-Cola is close in Liberia, and you're a Liberian, then you're not serious.
The government? No. A letter was written in deception. You did not even include the caption of your. The government? No. A letter was written in deception. You did not even include the caption of your. The government? No. A letter was written in deception. You did not even include the caption of your.
Thank you for joining us back on the program. This is Punch TV. The program you are in tune to is Trending Issues. My name is Vani Dix. Now joining us in studio is the former Inspector General of the Liberia National Police, Honorable Gregory Koroma. He is here to talk about issues regarding the police ahead of the October elections, as well as general leadership issues that will range from issues of the economy as well as governance. We will get his thought on these issues. Honorable Koroma, good afternoon. Welcome. This is Trending Issue.
Good afternoon. Thank you.
It has been a long time. Hope you've been doing well since you left government. How has it been like?
Life has been beautiful. All praise and glory to God. Family is good. Good health. We're all doing excellently well.
Okay. So you're transitioning from government to the private life. Where do you find the less stress? Where do you find more stress?
What is
have you been engaged into other activity in the private life? That's what I'm asking.
Yeah. I continue my public service.
Okay.
Through an NGO.
Okay.
I've worked for international NGOs, and there is a local NGO here that we're running.
Okay.
And through academic work and other consultancies, continue public service.
Okay. Let's go back now to the main reason why we've invited you.
Okay.
Elections will be held in October. Before we go into some of the substantive issues, what has been your thought about the police since you're exiting?
Well, the police is our organization. I mean, once you're in, you're never out. You're a member of it. It's a family.
Mm-hmm.
We look at it. We see how, like most other sectors, they're struggling as well. But there are good people. There are wonderful officers who continue to serve diligently.
Okay.
And I think based on what they're given and how they are constrained, I think proportionately they are performing to a larger extent.
Okay. So as we move on to the election, many times we are concerned about electoral violence. We saw your handling of the 2014 senatorial election, moving up to the 2017 elections, where there were tensions first that started being mounted. And then I follow an interview with you, even with Front Page Africa, and you gave assurances to the public that you would have done the best to ensure that the process was done peaceably.
Yep.
Let me know from you what kind of strategy were employed and what kind of advice can you accord to the current officials at the police to ensure that we have a smooth election in October?
So the first and foremost thing that we have to consider here is the fact that the police in any democratic regime has a very crucial role in ensuring the safety and integrity of the electoral process.
Okay.
And this is not done on the poll day, but the bulk of the work, I would say 80-90% of the work is done in the pre-poll preparations. And that is the most crucial part of it. And that has to do with your communication plan, your training plan, and all of the deployments and everything that you have to do. It has to be carefully mapped up. You have to ensure that the atmosphere that surrounds the entire process is very peaceful. It's not just the responsibility of the police to ensure that, but the police has a part to play in ensuring that the peace is maintained. The peace has to be maintained between the general public and the police as well. But there are a lot of things that we have to consider. You have to do special drives against criminals. You have to have meetings. You have to consider your border arrangements. We have ongoing arrangements where meetings are held around border towns. You got to ensure that is happening on a regular basis. You have to increase your monitoring of social media to ensure that misinformation and disinformation is controlled to a larger extent. You got to look at the vulnerability mapping, critical polling stations, and identification of crime hotspot. So there's a lot put into that pre-poll preparation, and that was one area that we did a lot of work. And I can see right now that the current administration of the police is already they already
are they doing it?
Well, yeah, they're already engaged in some of those activities, like the getting prepared for training. They are already done their initial plan. So I think they're following suit to a larger extent.
Do you get consulted as someone who is the immediate past head of that institution? Do you get consulted for experience advice?
Well, not directly, but I keep the lines open. Like I say,
not directly from the top.
Well, I do keep the lines are open with IGP Sulu. We speak regularly. I mean, when I pick up the phone and place a call, he's always there to answer once he's available. I speak with a lot of officers that we've served at different levels. There are times that they will individually call me when they're having issues that they believe that I could be of some help. And I gave them professional advice. And other times we compare notes on a lot of issues.
In a society where the police is largely viewed as being controlled by the state, as we go towards the election, what can the police do to give that level of confidence in the public space that, hey, we're not there for the government, but we're there to make sure that there is civility in society? What can be employed by the police to make sure that there is citizen confidence in the police?
Well, there are lots of measures that the police could consider during these times. I'll reference 2016, 2017. When we took over, trust and confidence was at its all-time low. And moreover, we had the UN here. So all of that trust was given over to the UN. We worked exceedingly hard as a team to ensure that we were able to build trust and legitimacy within 6 months. But that required a lot. It required a lot of outreach to the general populace. It required transparency and accountability. And just letting people know that we were there to serve. The police has to be seen as providing a service. And one thing that I realized there and then was the fact that we didn't consider those being served and get a feedback from them as to whether they appreciated the service that was being provided. I think this is the time that the police need to actually get the understanding of the people in what's their expectation of this service that we are
community
providing.
Engagement,
rigorous community engagement.
You think that is lacking?
I'm not saying that it's lacking. I'm saying you're asking the things that are needed to ensure that
community engagement
and legitimacy be built before the elections. So those are some of the engagements. Like yesterday, we blended this this project management tool, which is the conflict sensitivity. We used that and blended it with community policing. and the do no harm concept, wherein our intervention then was not to prolong or escalate anything we had to intervene into, and that our intervention did absolutely no harm. We initiated a good deed movement where we asked officers to record on a daily basis at least one good deed. And then, and the truth of the matter is, while it is true that there will always be negative reporting about policing, there's always a lot of good that the police do on a daily basis as well.
Okay.
But I can tell you, even now, the good yet is still always the bad.
Okay. Let me take you to something that I view very critical, which is whenever election is coming, there are semblance of pre-electoral campaign activities that are held sometimes by political parties.
Okay.
Doesn't the police have a role to play if it identifies that this thing is contrary to the law? Does the police have to wait until a case is brought, or you can engage the relevant actor and say, hey, this is in contravention to what is on the book?
So you have the city. The city has its role to play. The city whichever city it is.
Okay.
You have the election management officials. They have their role to play. If the elections management official recognize that an act that is being carried out contravenes
election laws,
it's incumbent upon them to bring it on to the relevant authorities to have it dealt with.
Okay. But if the police does recognize that it is wrong and the NEC is doing nothing about that, you just sit and watch?
That is if the police recognizes it.
Yeah. If the police does recognize that, the
police has its role to play, and if it violates the law that the police is there to enforce, the police has got rights to act.
Okay, so in relation now to what we see around the country, even prior to the billboards that are being erected by the CDC, there was this massive program that was convened by the ANC where they were wearing party t-shirts, there were flyers. Subsequently, the Unity Party did the same. Now we see the CDC has done that within the entire Boulevard to Single Belt. Doesn't that constitute pre-election campaigning in the view of the police?
Well, I mean, I would have done it differently. I mean, we can all look at it and assume what it is. But I would have, like you said, the police has its role to play. So even if the NEC is not speaking about it, the police leadership could reach out to the NEC to ask. I mean, whether So that is left with that. So that for me, I'm saying, you have to look at it and make a determination based on where you sit. So if the police sees it as such, they could reach out to the NEC. Yeah,
and say, hey.
But I go back to the point. That is if the police recognize it as being what you're calling it.
As a violation of the election law.
Precisely.
Okay. We will come back to election issue, but this issue of the police always waiting for a crime to occur before you come in. And I believe the police have got to be very proactive in preventing the crimes from occurring. There have been increasing wave in most recent time with mysterious death, most of which, if you look at the correlation, if you look at how similar they are, you want to say, hey, but this could have been prevented by the police. How then can this police that complains about many issues, how can the police be more proactive in preventing crime?
Okay, so when you let's go back. I need to understand you a bit more before I can answer your question. When you say the police could prevent it from happening, can you reference specific cases that
not these ones now, but could prevent crimes from occurring, rather than us waiting to have a society where most time these kind of cases are really something that happens before the police comes in?
Well, I mean, like I referenced the pre-poll activities being the most crucial for the elections. Like any law enforcement operation, the preventive component is always where we put our heavyweight. So in terms of carrying out awareness to prevent crimes from happening, community engagement and stuff, these are things that police should be engaged with. But to reference specific issues, one thing you cannot control the mind of a person. So the police can do all of the great work in liaising with the communities, in community policing activities. The one thing that it will do, it will help to share information on the possibility of those things happening. But even those who are in the community cannot predict that this person is going to pick up gun and go and shoot someone tomorrow.
Will it be justified to say that the police is weak in areas of crime prevention, or it has some limitations?
There are always limitations, but you cannot use this as a yardstick to measure the weakness of the police, because the truth of the matter is, the more they engage, I mean, one thing that you could look at and say, okay, let's take it from this angle, is the investigative component of it. How is the police collecting information from the community? Are they getting the support of the community members? That tells you whether they have a relationship that was put in place even before the crime occurred. But if they are getting a lot of pushback from the community, then you can use that as a means of some. You could use that as a yardstick as for their preventive diplomacy.
Honorable Kuma, is the Liberian police really serving the Liberian people, in your view?
Is the Liberian National Police serving the Liberian people
adequately?
Well, I mean, if you put adequately there, then we can break it down into other areas. But yes, the Liberian National Police is serving the Liberian people. The adequately component comes with a lot. It comes with logistic support.
Financial support.
It comes with the financial component of it. It comes with a disciplinary aspect on the police leadership to be able to adequately deal with officers when they violate. And then, like I said earlier, are we looking at what this service is? Because look, the same word that is used when you go to church and say, "Oh, the service was great. The pastor preached. Oh, I felt filled." And you go to the restaurant, you eat. They say, "Oh, the girl served me." You give her a tip. It's the same word that is attached to police service. So
election period is going to be
so the thing here is the question more is, are the people appreciative of the service? And that's the question the police leadership should be coming out to ask the people.
Should they engage?
How are we performing? How can we do it better? What's your expectation?
Performance report. Okay. Back to another issue which I view as important also. The election period is going to be a tense moment. Most time we see the police, many officers within the police, not every one of them, engaging in a very aggressive manner when it comes to tension being at a particular political party headquarters or somewhere. What is the best approach for a police? Do you always have to be so forceful during these moments?
The best approach is to remain the police, to be that tool of the state and not a weapon of any government, to enforce without fear, favor, malice, or ill will, to ensure that people can actually trust you. And when you speak of things that police should be doing before election, these are the kind of things, these are the kind of engagement that will make them to feel trusted. Yesterday, we went out and identified all of our stakeholders. The police is doing the same thing today. They got the stakeholder mapping completed, and we went one step beyond, which seemed as a cultural shock, and that was to ensure there was deployment. There was deployment at all the political party headquarters, beyond the headquarters. I mean, with their campaign activities, so that we could be able to coordinate their campaign to provide adequate security for them and avoid having multiple campaigns in one area. So those are different measures and stuff you can put in place to ensure that the police remain the police during this process.
Let me get your view on this one. Few years back, when President Weah took office, I embarked on an initiative to write a book about his journey. But then I started talking to officials of the CDC, I mean funding members of the CDC, and I was made to understand that the current police boss that we have used to be providing some level of private, he was still in the police, providing some level of private security for President Weah whenever he came down from outside. That was what I was made to understand by one of the founding chairpersons of this CDC. So I'm told that he used to leave the police at the time he goes in the evening to provide security. So with that kind of thought that is in the public's mind, if it is established to be true, should he preside over the LNP as we go into election, or recuse himself?
Well,
given the long-standing relationship and so,
I will say it's 100% true that IGP Sudu is a good friend of President Weah. But even in the greatest and the biggest democracies, officers have a post post-operation assignments. You have officers who will serve with the public works when they're doing the road. You have officers who will serve as at nightclubs. You have officers who provide protective services for people outside of
sometimes foreign ambassadors.
I mean, whatever it is, and they get paid for doing that.
Okay.
So there's nothing illegal with his support to now President Weah, then I mean an aspirant. Okay. So there was nothing sinister about it. I mean, it's just that, I mean, most times when these things happen, you're aligned to a political party, and that's why even your neutrality will be questioned. But it's not illegal to provide those kind of services outside. They call it what? Off duty or after duty service or something like that. Yeah, but it's allowed.
Yeah. So it's the issue of the neutrality.
As a matter of fact, I mean, the officers, the patrol officers, that's how they make most of the money. Like in the US, sometimes they work those extra hours. They even make sometimes more than what their chiefs and stuff would make based on the hours they put in those kind of assignments.
What are some of the substantive, or we come to some of the underpinning issues? For me, I identify the issue of corruption that many times, whether TR report and other issues talking about bribery within the police. These systemic issues that are underpinning the lack of performance within the police. Are we ever going to see this addressed anytime soon?
Can you kindly rephrase your question?
Systemic issues such as corruption that are usually attributed to the police being in the streets, sometimes also impeding their own judgment. I am saying, is there any likelihood that this concept is going to get out of the police?
Well, there is a likelihood that it could.
Okay.
And most times you will see the extent to which these things happen change over a period of time, based on leadership, sometimes based on how the officers are compensated. And this is a very tricky issue, because especially when I liken it to that of the compensation, it's not a justification for that to be happening.
Yeah.
But I mean, it easily compromises the integrity of anyone who has got so much power and authority when they are placed in a position of such. What you're referencing, I mean, is merely police action out in the street.
Yeah.
But it runs beyond that. It runs, I mean, even in the offices and what have you.
Okay.
But there are a lot of factors that have to be addressed in dealing with it. Notwithstanding, I mean, any police leader who identifies that has the right to take an action regardless of whatever underlying issues that are yet to be addressed.
Okay.
So, I mean, take for instance, if an officer is caught on video extorting money from someone, and that complaint is filed, the police is duty bound to ensure that he is dismissed. We're not going to say, oh, because you're not properly compensated, that's why. And I'm sure there are under my administration, there were tons of officers who were dismissed for inappropriate acts. Under Director Massacre, under Director Ambler, you just name it. It's been happening over and over. But there has to be a consistent approach and an impartial approach as well in dealing with those issues.
With that, we will transition now and get your thought on general leadership issues in Liberia.
Yeah.
While you were in the police, I'm sure you were constrained to some extent to get involved with politics. Are you intending in this time now to get involved, and at what level?
Well, when you say get involved with politics, I mean,
getting involved actively, perhaps expressing your thought on governance issues, aside from this invitation today, maybe releasing some statements, say, this is my position, X, Y, Z.
So that's one thing I struggle with, right? Drawing the dichotomy between a citizen of a country expressing issues of governance that has to do with his well-being and the well-being of others, and what constitutes politics.
Okay.
Because each and every one of us outside of a political arrangement has got a right.
Yeah.
I've got a right to speak towards anything that affect my well-being. I can speak to health issues, my concerns with the health issues. I can speak to concerns with education and every other sector. So, I mean, I don't need to be politically involved or politically attached to any party to be able to speak to some of those issues.
Certainly.
We've reserved our comments on some issues, not because we are afraid, or we think that it's not the best thing to do, but we do so weighing what is at stake when it comes to the safety and the interest of the state. So there has to be timing and ripeness in how we come out to speak to certain issues. But yes, as it relates to issues of concern, yes, I can speak whenever I want to. As far as it relates to politics, I'm not getting attached to any political party at this point in time. I will walk to the box and I will vote for somebody. So
which you can name now.
Why should I? It's my my vote is my secret. Yeah. And if I was politically aligned, you
obviously you would have said it.
Then I've put that secret out there. But yes, I will walk there and I will cast a ballot for someone.
This
but
question,
I'm not politically attached to
this
any
question
party.
I'm asking you is not as a police officer, but as a Liberian. What is your view about livelihood, issues of the economy? That we talk about the bread and butter issue as a Liberian. What is your fair thought over the last 5 to 6 years under the WIA-led government?
Well, I would ask that you do not limit me to just the WIA-led government. I've been around here for a few decades.
Chief.
And I think we as the people of Liberia, we've gotten the worst side of the coin. The quality of life is extremely low. As a matter of fact, I tell my friends every day that if the Bible was a book that gets regularly updated, the news stories in the Bible would not be about the children of Israel. It would be about the people of Liberia, because this is one place on earth that we survive solely by the grace and mercy of God. Because how we live, how we manage, how we make it through on a day-to-day basis is way beyond the understanding of people who live in countries that life has more to offer. I mean, it is indeed sad.
What do you attribute that to?
Well, it has to do with a lot. First and foremost, I think our minds have got to be renewed. The thinking of the people, governance overall, because it's the leadership that help to define the structure and the direction that we take, the priorities that we set for our countries. I think it has to do. I would put it a lot towards the leadership. But the mindset of the people has got a major part to play, because I think in order to move this country forward, there has to be a serious change in minds of us Liberians. I mean, each and every one of us, I would start with myself. If you think that you don't need a change of mind, fine. And I wouldn't like to say every last one of us, but I believe there has to be a change of. Today, if you came and you built interchange where you have the road network going all around, coming to connect, you will be driving down, you see a keke running up the wrong direction. You will see Pempen running all over the wrong direction. So before you even put these structures in place, you got to first and foremost look at how can we educate young people? How can we invest more into the future of our country? How can we improve our own livelihood? How can we improve healthcare? How can we improve agriculture? How can we even feed ourselves? So there are a lot of things that we have to consider before we even start to look at the bigger things. And there's a doctrine in law enforcement called the broken window theory, and it speaks to you doing the smaller things and the larger things will fall in place. So there are some extremely low hanging fruit. I mean, fruit that you have to bend over to be able to pick. That's how low they are. That could be a plot to address some of these issues, and then the bigger ones will automatically fall in place.
So you're trying to strike the balance now. I see. One end is the government leadership. The other end, you say citizen. But I think largely it has to be with the government, because if you look at
I would it's not just I say leadership, the overarching leadership. And we always like to just put it on the government. The church has a part to play. The mosque has a part to play in molding, because all of the people who come into the government, they didn't start from the government. They started from a mosque, they started from a church, What are you doing? You don't believe in God. You started from a home or somewhere which your parents had a part to play.
Yeah.
But collectively, once we come into government, we come with what has been ingrained in us, and is that ideology that we roll out in government. So it doesn't start from just government. We all have a part to play at different levels.
Okay.
Yeah.
Senator Johnson recently, we'll talk about the same situation we're on. He said there is a plan, allegedly, to take his life. He claimed it is being engineered by the government. If you were in the police and that statement is made, what would be your immediate reaction?
I'll reach out to Senator Johnson to share the intel he has with us if he's willing to, so that we can start to look into it. He's a citizen of the Republic of Liberia, whether he's a senator or not. I mean, it should be concerning to anybody. The ultimate objective is to protect life and property. So if he has information that his life is at stake, definitely it will be a lead for us to be able to investigate and ensure that it doesn't happen. It's the same issue of prevention that you were speaking about.
Yes, sure. Okay. Before we wrap up, Chief, let me get from you your message you would like to send, be it to political parties, Liberians at large, as well as the police. Your candid view as we move on to election. Basically, what message you want to send out there officially?
Well, I would just like to admonish each and every one of us to play our roles honorably.
Okay.
Those who are at the election management body, those are political parties, and just help support the process and ensure that we do what is right and what is best for this country. The preservation of the peace is heavily rested on the government, but each and every one of us has got a part to play in it. Today, we're still dealing with the effects of the years of war that's going to take us forever to overcome. Violence did not solve the problem. Violence will not solve it again. Even in 100 years, the violence will not solve it. It will put us back to the table to discuss whatever we need to get things moving. It is my hope that this election will remain violence-free. It is my hope that the government provides the atmosphere that is necessary to support a violence-free election.
The question just came in mind to ask you, if you were called back, whether this administration or any other administration, in similar capacity at the LNP, will you be willing?
Well, I am a public servant. Like I say, I've continued my public service. I'm yet and still in public service. Any role in public service that helps to improve the livelihood of my people and advance the development of this nation, I'm yet and still open to service. Yeah.
But yet you resign.
Yes, I did, because it was the most appropriate thing to do at the time that I did it.
Okay. Where there's some standoff.
My resignation did not bring an end to my public service.
Okay.
My resignation transitioned me to continue my service in another regard.
Okay. Honorable Como, thank you. It has been a pleasure having you on the platform. Thanks so much to my dear friend A.B. Dukley also. He's a staunch supporter of you. He helped me in the process of getting you. Yeah, I had to communicate with him in the US to have you over, Chief.
So, okay, A.B., I never knew A.B.
Okay.
Folks just kept bringing my phone about this kid that kept posting stuff about me back and forth.
Yeah.
Until one day I ran into him and we had a conversation, very smart, intelligent, and he gave me his reasons why he believed in me and why he was doing what he did. And he has been relentless.
He's still saying that you bring Gregory back.
He has been extreme. But one thing I can tell you, he's very independent and he has a mind of his own.
Even at the time he was with Shrimex.
I disagree with him on a lot of things that he posts. And he would tell me, he said, listen, Bobby, the one thing I owe to you is the fact that I will post stuff about you. You can't control my keyboard as to what I will put up and what. Sometimes I even beg him. I said, look, man, I just want to lay low for a bit. Let people try to forget about me. Let me transition onto this other side. But AB has been relentless. And AB, I want to say thank you in this public manner. Thank you for believing in me.
Thank you so much, Honorable Greg Comer. He is the former Inspector General of the Liberia National Police. It has been a pleasure speaking with you on the platform. We will run for this very brief break, come back also in the former Deputy Public Works Minister. Stay with us.
The bestie na prepper my bestie. The bestie da la bestie. Fire friend.
I say, see bestie wanting to weffy, want him along me, fire friend let me.
DJ Young T.
You got money left, Johnny. You funny. Yes, it's.
Lump.
Yes, it's.
Fire friend let me. Fire friend let me. If you not want betrayal, fire friend let me. Fire friend let me. Fire friend let me. If you not want betrayal, fire friend let me.
Bombe oh, fire friend let me. Bombe jene oh, fire friend let me. Bombe, fire friend let me. Bombe jene oh, fire friend let me.
Hey, see bestie. The bestie not sweet like my bestie. The bestie da la bestie. Fire friend let me.
I say, see bestie wanting to weffy, want him along me, fire friend let me. I hear them say they want me go, I say
Some of them say they want me go,
I say
Some friends na Some friends na Some friends na Friends Hey, see bestie. The bestie not sweet like my bestie. The bestie da la bestie. Fire friend let me.
I say, see bestie wanting to weffy, want him along me, fire friend let me. They won't step on my blessing, but God get a breaking heart. They won't call it my blessing, but God get a breaking heart.
Friendship, see friendship. Can't see property friendship. I don't want no bad for friendship. I don't want no wedding friendship. Wangolo, wango for bestie, wango for daddy, wangolo.
I hear them say they want me go, I say I hear them say they want me go, I say
Some friends
They say they want me to go, but I say I'm going to keep persevering. I'm going to keep pushing on. I'm going to keep moving. This is Trending Issue on Punch TV. My name is Vanny Dix. This is the final last segment. It's some 33 minutes pushing up to 6 o'clock. Welcome. This is the final segment on the program Trending Issue. We've been joined in studio by the former Deputy Public Works Minister, who is now aspiring in Montreal County, a member of the former ruling Unity Party. I will give you the time, Chief. Give a little thought about yourself regarding this journey, how it all started. Why did you decide even to want to put your foot in the race? Let us start off. Welcome to the program, Mr. Gideon.
Thank you, Vani, for having me. And I'm glad to be here. Let me say congratulations to the Punch family.
Okay.
We've been waiting to punch.
Okay, thank you.
At least we're here to begin punching. Yeah, so,
and we're going to keep punching.
Yes,
we're going to keep punching.
Punch. Okay. But it's good to be. I'm very excited to be here. Again, Roland Lafayette Giddens is a public sector administrator. I've had experience working in government, not just at the ministerial level, but at technical levels.
Okay.
I worked with the LRDC secretary in 2007 when I came back from school as a very young person. And the LRDC secretary was responsible to, of course, develop the IPRS and the PRS, the Poverty Reduction Strategy.
Yeah.
I was a part of that as program assistant, very young, very energetic, and participated in that process. So we set the initial foundation for the country developing after the crisis, after 2003, when Manaseri was elected in 2005.
Okay.
So I played that role for a while and working along with the partners to be able to set the development agenda for our country. We did the IPRS, which was the interim poverty reduction strategy, and then we moved to the full poverty reduction strategy.
Okay.
I also worked in the RDC secretary when we fought to get debt waiver, the $4.7 billion debt waiver that we got from our international partner. Manaseri went to the Paris Club and appealed for that. And this is the kind of fiscal space that we open up for the country. And that's what sometimes, yes, CDC speak about, you know, Unity Party 12 years, they didn't do it. I don't wonder. I mean, sometimes I wonder what they're saying because they do not even understand that we needed to create a fiscal space for them to be able to function that they're doing today. So I did that for a year. And then I went to the Economic Management Secretary.
Okay.
I chaired that as the head of secretary for 1.5 years in the Ministry of State portfolio. Then turning back into Liberia to visit, and then he thought after he left the prime minister position, he set up what you call the African Governance Initiative,
AGI,
and AGI. And so that was to support presidencies in in Africa, specifically West Africa. So he spoke to Madam Zedi if she wanted that to happen in her office to set up this very tactful unit to follow up on big infrastructure projects, major commitments that will be made at different functions, different travels when she's there. Because sometimes the president travel and there are a lot of commitments. Oh, we will do this, but you have to do proposal. You have to, follow up on that. And sometimes the president comes back, nobody follow up.
Yeah,
and then, the partners who make the commitments say, well, maybe the people are not serious. So the president delivery unit was set up. And when that was set up, it was funded by the World Bank initially. So they were looking for program assistance and that senior program officer. Let me say that. That's the first position. And because I had left the LRDC secretary into the Economic Management Secretary, it makes sense for me to present myself as somebody who want to get the job. And besides that, the pay was good enough compared to what I was making initially. And as a young person building my family, I thought it made sense to transition. And I transitioned to that. But let me go back quickly
to the PDU.
To the PDU.
Okay.
To just say I graduated from the EMU University in 2001, still, of course, the VAR for the class. And I was also president for the alumni, the student government in 2001. The former speaker, Ellis Starter, ran against me very young, and I beat him. It was surprising by the time, he was in the university too. And then I transitioned to being president for the Alumni Association. So I've had leadership in different ways, politically, but then when I came back from school, I thought to turn into a technician because I felt going to full-bloom politics, you needed to have the basis and the foundation to understand where it is, especially in governance. So I did that and went to the PDU and became one of the senior program officers. My portfolio was energy. So there's no major energy project in this country now that I don't know about. In fact, CDC has not done any major energy project. They have not conceived one and executed one. I'm saying that for a fact. There's no one they could say all the energy projects you see being executed are energy projects.
They were started from UP.
In the pipeline.
Yeah, even the CLSG that is talked about today, I know 2013.
Right now, we are building a mini hydro in Lofa County on the Lofa River, 2.5. Also in Nima, there's a mini hydro. We're doing one in River G. All those projects started a long time ago.
Everything.
I was part of the process that did some of the studies on the different rivers to be able to get the site identified as site you can put mini hydros on.
When you listen to President Weah as well as other fanatics of the CDC government say publicly that their government has paved more roads in this country than the Unity Party government. If I'm not mistaken, President Weah did say 1,075, if I'm not making a mistake, roads as per what they have done, far surpassing what United Party did. So I thought to reach out to you. I really tried connecting with former Minister William Judy Moore, but I couldn't get his contact. But I had to reach out to you. Where do you stand, UP and CDC, on this road issue? Who has done more roads?
Okay, so we interchange because I was trying to do the introduction. Then we just
to the road issue. Okay,
we flip in between the two.
Okay.
So yeah, so then with the present Labour Union did energy, and then of course did road. In 2014, appointed as Deputy Minister of Ministry of Public Works. Now the question you asked, I'm also a classroom teacher. I've been in the classroom for 15 years. A teacher at the AME University and also at the United Methodist University. I love that. It's a passionate thing that I do, and I've been doing it forever. Even when I was Deputy Minister, I taught. But let me say this: CDC got to be joking. They, I don't like to say it, but they joke to say that we did almost 800 kilometers of roads in terms of pavement and repavement. Because when I say repavement, I'm talking about some of the roads that they were paved, but they were dilapidated. We had to remove
potholes and other things.
So like the whole of Central Monrovia. Okay, if anybody would see it, you know that the whole of Central Monrovia was redone.
This one was done for the former U.S. president when he was coming.
Yeah, so we did that, the whole of Central Monrovia. We did the Corey Road, we did SKD Boulevard, we did the Police Academy Road, we did the GSA Road, we did the AB Tower Road, we did the Rehab Road, we did the Dupo Road. I mean, I'm talking about in Monrovia. We did Capital Bypass to EAW Junction. Okay, then we did from EAW Junction to RIA, and then we did from RIA to Buchanan, all the way to Buchanan, and then we did Real Light to the Guinea border. Okay. Then we started the project that they now speak about from Ganta to Konya up to Zozo, Vonjima, Minikoma. We initiated that project. I was at the Ministry of Public Works when we set up the consortium, Arab consortium. Now I can name them. We got Saudi Arabia, Badia, we have Kuwait, we have OPEC, and we have Abu Dhabi. Those are the 5 consortium that we brought, the 5 countries we brought into the consortium. They provided the funding. In fact, we did 3 ratification agreements. There was one to be done when they took over, and it took almost 2 years to just ratify one agreement for the project to get started. In fact, we got Chico hired. It was when controversially, President Weah, back then was senator, was taken for groundbreaking, isn't it? Yeah. For us, when you do groundbreaking, you are already secured the funding for the road. You've already got the contractor who groundbreak. Physical work is about to start. Yeah. For theirs, maybe the owner groundbreaking is different, but that's how we do ours. He was taken there as senator on the road. So that I can tell you we already had that project. In fact, when they took over, they were supposed to pay for RAP, resettlement assessment. I mean,
resettlement action plan.
On the road. They did not. It took almost 3 years to pay just anywhere around $4 million. In fact, the contractors demobilized. They left the site, and they were almost filing claims on the government before they went back to pay the money. And that project's delayed. He reported that they had done almost 30 kilometers. No, if we were there, we would have. Maybe by now we close it up on Zaza or already finished reaching Zaza because we had the commitment already from the partners. So they delay the foundation that we created on that project. Also, they talk about the Ganta to Yekepa project. We initiated that project. It was out of the Social Development Fund. Aslamenta wanted to do seal chip. Have you read on the road from Kakata to Pomai? A seal chip. It's the same thing they wanted to do on that road, but we said no, you can't because that road is a link of the West African, the Trans-West African Highway. You know, there's a Trans-West African Highway that comes from Gambia to Senegal, comes down to Benin, Togo, Ghana, and Ivory Coast, and come to Liberia, go to Guinea, Sierra Leone. It's called the Trans-West African Highway. So that piece between Saniquale to Ganta is a part of it. So since we're doing Saniquale, Ganta, Saniquale, Yekepa, we could not do seal chip because then it's going to take away from the rheumatic next of the road as compared to a full asphalt road. So the government said, look, ArcelorMittal, what you're doing, we'll supplement that. So when I was at the Ministry of Public Works in 2015, when the Ebola came, ArcelorMittal had some issue with the price of oil. There was slump in the price of oil, and they said they did not have the money for social development fund investment. We had CSE. It's a Senegalese company that work on that road now. We hired them. So they were ready, they were mobilized, and they were ready to work. But they could not. They needed the initial payment. We at the Ministry of Public Works at the time paid $15 million to CSE to start the project. Okay, and they got started, and slowly they started to, come back with funding. So for Sunny Kode to look, that is why that road has to be the way it is. Now I hear them talk about it. Now we've done almost 30 kilometers. They met the project ongoing already, and the certain project they just can do much with, especially the one that's funded 100% by the partners. That one they had to do it because the partner will pressure them because of the Trans-West African Highway nature of that project. So the one from Sunny Kode to Lokato that we're doing, we secured the funding from the African Development Bank and 50% grant from the European Union. They know nothing about that project. They met that project. The only thing should have happened was the procurement process when they took over. In fact, they wanted to manipulate the procurement process. It took almost 2 years to get a contractor because their government, people in the government thought that they could manipulate the big project. The contractors didn't know. You don't interfere with the project. You don't suggest contractors. It is a procurement process that's done internationally. So they went back and forth. There was back and forth on that project. And it took almost 2 years to get the contractor to do that road. So the road from Lokato to Sunny Kode, funding was secure, everything. So I'm trying to find out, Fishtown Harper. We have paved already from Plebo, from Harper to Plebo, from Plebo to the Ivorian border, because there's a bridge that should be built over that road. It's a part of that road. Up to River G, we have paved that before this came up to 25th.
But it seems as a party, a former governing party, it seems you're not doing much in responding to some of these claims.
No, we do that. When they go on Facebook and do that stuff, I just go there and put them to bed. And
are you really doing it?
I've done that many times. I'm on the radio. And I got a whole. In fact, I was sending you. I got a whole thing on the roads. Okay, and I can send it to you. Okay. So you have that and learn about that. So they know. Of course, they talk to me many times, and I said, we're not going to have that conversation.
Talk to you saying what?
Of course, it's like people engage you and think you should, you should
slow down.
Yeah, you should slow down. Maybe you should try to work with it. And I said, no, I don't think I can fit into your cycle. The kind of people you are, the way you work, the things you do, you don't show that you're committed to the country. It's just about being in power and trying to enrich yourself.
Okay,
I can be a part of that. But I'm just saying to you, there's no rule that have done of any thing
that your fingerprint is not on,
except for now, except the RIA rule. But let me say what's about that. In the RIA rule project, we did a full feasibility. There were 3 companies that came here. The highest amount that we could have paid on that project is 90 million, and that was a dual link, a medium in between, lights, overpass, the laybacks. That is, if you live in the express, if you travel, you went to the city, you leave the express, 90 million up to the airport from EFW Junction. The highest there was something, another company for Canada, it is something. And of course, we even had Chico to do some assessment anywhere around 80 million. So the highest would have been 90 million. They went and single-handedly gave the project to East International. This is a company that got no reputation of doing an asphalt road. They did some concrete road. They worked at the Mission, we were there. And so they bid for concrete road, and they won it because they rode on the old road, Chuba, no, not Chuba, but Gaytown Road. That concrete road you see on rigid pavement was done by the late Judah Behrens from the County Development Fund. They did that project. So when they applied to do rigid pavement, they were the only company that showed that they had the capacity to do rigid pavement. So out of the procurement process managed by Double Jara, they want to do that. That's the only thing we know they could do. They never did asphalt road before. They gave it to them for 160 million. Almost extra 30 million.
Okay.
And of course, no procurement process. So it's something about corruption.
I know. It means your extensive knowledge
talk much about
on these issues.
Roads, they have not done. They did some pavement on some of the roads. We appreciate the Johnsonville road they've done. They wrote the bypass to go to Mount Barkley. So you can, bypass that rail line. It's a very good project they're doing. Yes, but they have not done much.
So what do you think they're going to be judged by in October?
Let me say that if you want to talk about judging them, I think they're going to be judged much more on the economy.
Okay.
And on the economy, economic infrastructure is a part of the economy because the economic infrastructure are those infrastructure that support economic growth. So that's roads and energy, for example. If you did some reading of the Millennium Challenge Corporation, there was a screen analysis that were done on economic growth, why our economy could not grow. And there were 2 binding constraints. And those constraints were investment in roads and investment in energy. Because when we took over, we had about 0 megawatt in 2006. Before we left them with 123 megawatt. Today, they have about 48. 2 of the Mount Coffee are down. 2 of them down. The hydro is down. It's not functioning. One of them need some kind of maintenance. So right now, Mount Coffee has the capacity to produce 88 megawatt. Of course, it's dry season. You don't expect it to do that. It could do anywhere half of that. But currently they're doing 18.5 megawatt. Now they're doing load shedding. We did 3 HFOs, heavy fuel plant on the Bishop Island. We did an 80 megawatt by the government at the time. We did one from the World Bank grant, World Bank loan from the World Bank 10 megawatt, and JACA grant 10 megawatt, at 38 megawatt. Today, only 28 functioning. So one of the 10 megawatt is down. So CDC has not added anything to the.
It seems you people need to be on the radio regularly because
I'm always there.
Yeah,
I'm always there. They lie. And so when I get there, they don't want me to talk. They don't want me to talk. They get jittery when I speak because nobody can disprove that. It's facts.
Okay. Yeah. We will use the remaining portion to talk about your venture, but let's first get your take. President, we have spoken on Monday. Many presidents have been weighing in on this, and I thought to also solicit your input on what did you capture from there? What did you expect to hear? What did you hear that you think didn't just fall in alignment with reality?
Okay, so I think he did some false information on my roads. Some of the
which you already dealt with.
I think even on the economy, he didn't speak well. He said he took over a broke country. No, he did not. They complicate what a country is when you say broke or not broke. And I heard some of them arguing that when they took over, they met $8 million in the consolidated account. Yes, you could meet $8 million in the consolidated account because we run a cash-based budget as a country. So what we collect is what we spend. So, and the consolidated account is like the operational account for government. But we have what you call the National Reserve, which is like a savings. And your savings cannot be it cannot be something you say is not a part of me. So, for example, you have your 2 accounts. You have your operational account, so family account. Then you got something you call your saving account
for future use,
just in case you got some unforeseen circumstances. They met $157 million.
The finance minister said 110. That's
come on. It's lying.
That's what.
Let me say that it's lying. You heard Senator Johnson.
Challenging for the turnover note.
The turnover note. It's $157 million they met in the account. What did they do within 1 year? 2018 by 2019, they depleted our account. They brought it down to $30-something million. You know that the central bank was recapitalized by the IMF when the IMF came in 2019, this first quarter in 2019. In fact, 2019, the first quarter, people were not taking pay.
Certainly.
3 or 4 months.
Certainly.
The reason why that happened, because they refused. The IMF program ended in 2017 September. When the election came and they won, they were supposed to sign up for the IMF program. When Minister Choi and the group went to do the PDAP in Banga, he came back and announced on EIBC that the government was not going to the IMF program. Because the IMF program with the British institutions, they don't support real growth. If you want to change the economy, you want to do a lot, you can't get it done. There's a lot of restrictions, so they're not going to the program. So the whole of 2018, they didn't go into the IMF program. I will tell you, Vani, it was when they destroyed the economy because they were doing all kinds of budget expenditure. Spending of budget, and what they were doing is they were going to the reserve and just taking money out of the central bank and spending it. And so by 2018, by end of 2018, 2019, in fact, the central bank report 2018 came out 2019 early, said we already lose almost close to $100+ million in disposable income in terms of loss of job. So they did that, and because of what they did, they could not get support from the IMF. There's budget support of almost $60 million from the IMF, the European Union, and sometimes the African Development Bank. That's direct budget support. So it helped the country to survive in terms of their monthly expenditure. So for 1 year, they were not getting that support. So they got tight. When they went back to the IMF program, they were constrained to go into the IMF program. And when they went back to the IMF program, that's how they came up with what you call their field harmonization policy. Because by then they have blotted the payroll, they met the aggregate payroll about $297 million. By 1 year, by the end of 2018, they took it up to 326.27 million, almost 30 million in excess. The civil servant were at about 50 million. They took it to 50,000, took it to 70,000. So by that, when the IMF came and they sent a team, there's 2 teams they send. They send the monetary team, which will go to the central bank, and the fiscal team. When they went to the central bank had doubled their staff, almost 700 persons. The central bank staff were anywhere around 370 something. When they took over, they took it to 600 something. The IMF said, this place is too overcrowded, we can't work here. You have to reduce the staff. They brought it down to like 400. You can remember they did something you call last invoice at the central bank. But they gave people package because the central bank had some money. When it came to the fiscal side, which is where the the public sector, payroll is. It was difficult for them to do that because they had no money to pay people out. So what did they? The IMF said, look, we have been working with the last government to reduce, the wage bill. It's been high. We thought that you needed to reduce it so you're able to invest in capital expenditure. So we ask you, take it back. You have to enter the program. The precondition is take it back to where you met it.
Okay.
So for 326,
bring
it back to 296.
The wage bill now.
Wage bill, the aggregate wage bill.
Okay.
That's how they introduced harmonization.
Okay.
Because now they couldn't put anybody down. They already employ a lot of people. So if Vani was making $1,000, so they said, Vani, you can't make $1,000 anymore because we brought somebody who making $300. And because we brought this people making $300, we added the wage bill up to 326. So to bring it down to 297, Vani now you should make 350.
Yeah.
So instead of 1,000, Vani make 350 now. So Vani pay will be used to pay additional 2 person. They managed to do that. They came down to everyone 304 a million. The IMF agreed to work with them. Okay. That is how they introduce harmonization. They can, they make noise about the harmonization. Is the best policy, and it's trying to harmonize pay. That's not true.
Okay.
They took away from people, and they did that in the midst of inflation. When inflation was anywhere around 20-something%, it was just crazy for them to do that. And I think it was wrong. So on the economy now, inflation theoretically on paper is down.
Yeah.
Prices are still high.
Yeah.
Inflation is just, it means that, when inflation is down, that means prices should also, that effect should take place.
Sure.
Inflation has been down according to the IMF for a long period, but prices are still high. So it's not taking effect, because when inflation is down, that means your disposable income is gaining its nominal value as is, but it's not happening.
I also had some concern when I saw it was 2022 IMF economic outlook on Liberia when they said 7.8%, if I'm not making a mistake, with Liberia's inflation. Yeah. So then you also comparing the reality in society. But there are many issues to talk about on the CDC regarding that. I want to use the next couple of minutes to talk about your personal venture now, which is your move in Montserrat County. What prompted this desire at this point in time to wanting to get into the race?
So let me say that I've always been a politician. Okay, and I've learned that over time, and one of the things I thought, to be a national politician at this stage, you needed to allow yourself to learn governance and understand what government is. Okay. So luckily for me, when I came back to school and worked in government, I worked in very strategic areas that allowed me to learn the governance. And so I understand governance from the different perspective, from the executive, from the legislature. I'm not a lawyer, but at least I understand, have an insight of what the judiciary looks like and what the law is. So with this, and with all that I've done, and having served as a public sector administrator at the Ministry of Public Works, and of course being in very technical positions, and also upholding very strong integrity. If you speak about me in places I work, things that I've done, people tell you I'm not a perfect person, but I try to uphold integrity. It's difficult to do, yes, but I've tried.
The people say election is number.
I made too much sacrifice.
Election is number.
So yes, numbers. So but you have to drill the numbers, and to drill the numbers, you have to build a character to do that. Yeah. I've been in the classroom for 15 years. A lot of people think Giddens, you may not be very popular. I say, well, time for election is different. It's different from somebody who everybody think, quote unquote, may be popular, but then when you go to the ballot, there's something different happen because people are popular in different ways. I've been popular in a very productive way. I've been in the classroom for 15 years. I've impacted knowledge of so many persons. I walk in there, one of my students was just in there just now. She really did not remember me. She said, oh, maybe Mr. Beer, maybe because of the beer or so, because of the gray beer, whatever. But then when she realized it was me, then she said, oh my goodness. I'm just saying it to say, we are different and we are popular in different ways. Besides being in the public sector and besides being in the classroom, I've been involved in charity.
In Montserrat County.
In Montserrat County, in different ways. The Lions Club, which is not a political organization, but it's an international, it's the biggest service organization in the world. Here in Monrovia, that's what you call the Greater Monrovia Lions Club, is the mother's club of charitable organization here. I've served as president for that club, big club. Right now, if you go to the JFK, the eye center that we did, it's almost $500,000 project. Go to the AMU University, there's a computer lab for blind students only in this country. The only one that's
your personal initiative.
No, I'm saying I serve as president with the with the club.
Okay.
And I was part of that. Of course, contributed to it, but I led the project. So if you go on AMA campus now and go to the lab, you see that computer center done. It is the only in this country for visually impaired students. So students who have a vision problem and want to go to university and want to use the computer, you go there now, they use the computer. We work with the American embassy, they supported that project, and it's one of the only one in the country. Besides that, look at me. I play old-timer football. So I play Lona old-timer football. I play for single old-timer. It's a big...
Like a CVN, I can make you number so.
Of course. It's a big thing around. So, you know, people overlook that because tomorrow morning I'll be on SKD practicing. I do that every Saturday. It keep me fit. It keep me looking okay. All right. So there's so much I've been involved with. Student politics at the level I served as president for the AME University Alumni Association for 4 years. Okay, AME is one of the prestigious universities here, and my name is known. What I want is to test it and give an opportunity to people to see. So I'm working.
So you are testing this?
Of course, I'm testing it. I've walked in different communities, and I thought that people didn't know me there. And I just supposed to Mr. Giddens, and when I tried, who are you? And then they try to say where they know me from and how.
So you said, let me test it.
So besides that, look, if you know you have the ability to lead and to provide service to your people, put yourself up. You know what? All the good people can sit there and say, I don't have money. I'm not a person with money. You know, sorry to say, I'm not a person who like wealth, you know, to gather, because if someone like to gather, I would have done that when I serve as a public servant. I believe we need just a little to work, just a little to lead. I believe in that concept. And that's what have driven me over the years. But so, I believe you need to present yourself. As much as people will say, hey, you know, you're not popular. I don't know how. You got to try and put yourself out for the popularity. I've done this.
Someone is recommending that due to the affiliation Henry Costa is having with your standard bearer and your party, perhaps since he can pull the number, you should give him chance.
But there's no evidence that he can pull the number. The guy participated in elections and came 5th of 6 in District 6 where I stayed. So what evidence that he can pull the number or to get on a platform every morning and just talk, and everybody on there, oh yes, and that's it? I don't understand that. Besides that, Henry is not in the Unity Party. Henry is in the ELP. The Unity Party is a party with structure. I'm the chairperson for program policy, a ranking member in the party. I've expressed my interest. Standard bearers are aware, party members are aware. There's a process for us
and yet to receive endorsement.
Yes, but we have not. There have not been anybody else in the party who have done that. So I'm the only person for now, as far as I'm concerned. If there's somebody else, there's a process, a primary process we go to. So until we go to a formal collaboration, in fact, I chaired the drafting committee at the CPP. I wanted to see a collaboration. It didn't work, yes, but we can still do something. So if we get to the point where we are collaborating formally, and there's discussions about somebody moving around or pushing the goalpost, that conversation can start. For now, I'm the guy.
The fact that you said
myself up for the Unity Party in Montserrat County, and that's it.
The fact that you said this is a test that you're giving, does it mean I shouldn't ask you now what you intend to do at the legislature?
Ask me. Now let me tell you what I want to do at the legislature.
Good.
I got a whole platform.
Okay.
One of the things I want to do is to do a reform in our natural resource management. You know why? Liberia is a very rich country. We don't manage our resources well. This is why we are poor. Now, how can the country be rich with resources so much and we are poor? We have so much. We have gold, we have diamond, we have iron ore, we have oil, we have timber, we have bauxite. Look, 40% of the forest in West Africa is found in Liberia. You know what I mean? We have swamp land. We can plant rice and harvest rice 3 months. Every 3 months, we can supply rice to other countries because we have some land.
So what kind of reform you're talking about?
We also have, I will tell you, we also have one of the longest coastal line in West Africa. 43,000 square miles. You can walk from Cape Mount to Maryland County if you want to. Just few tributaries you have to have some challenges with where the river join the sea. But you can do it if you want to do it. Okay? That tells you what we have. And I love what her name, Glasgow is doing.
Yeah.
I admire her. In fact, I think she's better than the president we have. Maybe she should have been the president. I think she's better than she's one of the best presidents in the government. She's doing extremely well. She's working well in our future. If any new government come to power, I would advocate, I would keep her. It doesn't matter whether she is a sedition, whatever. This is what we want for our country. These are the kind of people we want to work. So our natural resources is not being managed well. one of the things I want us to do is to get equity in our resources. Botswana did that. You know, Botswana discovered the gem diamonds. They're one of the best diamonds in the world they have. Botswana passed a law to say no private company will come to Botswana and exploit the diamonds 100%. No. De Beers, you know, De Beers is the biggest diamond consortium in the world. They control the diamond market. They wanted to go into Botswana. Botswana said, yes, come, but we have to partner. We're not going to give you our resources 100%. So they set up, and Botswana meant what they said. And they set up what you call Debswana. Is a national consortium, Botswana and De Beers. Today, all the diamond exploration in Botswana is a joint venture, the government and private sector and private companies. So because of that, Botswana is ranked as the 5th or 4th richest country in Africa in terms of GDP per capita. The GDP per capita is almost 7,000 per person. Our GDP per capita is like $500-600 per person. But who can live on $600 whole year?
No, even aside from the diamond issue, you have, even with the rubber, the iron, that is not happening.
We have bauxite, we have so much.
So why is it not happening?
What I want to do is because of the way we manage our concession. I would be advocating for one. We are not going to give 100%. We want equity in our resources.
Are you saying no?
So all of the concession we have now, when the concession ends, I will advocate that we buy stake in these investments. So if ArcelorMittal said that the negotiation end, I mean the concession end, and we were to renegotiate, so we want
to share,
because you know why? If we have stake inside, just what happened? We get personal income, which people pay from the income. We have corporate income. Then we have royalty. These are 3 things we get now, a little bit. But then we're also going to have dividends. When a company pay out all their expenses and get to the point where they declare dividends, the dividends share based on percentage. So say we got 40% in ArcelorMittal. ArcelorMittal makes 100 million as profit. They want to declare dividends. We get 40 million out of that, besides our royalty, corporate, and personal income tax. So the country gets rich because every company that come to exploit our resources, which is for us on the ground, we get share out of that. That's dividends. That's what we want. We want equity on our resources.
Easier said than done.
Yeah, but we don't have the guts to do it. There's nothing technical about it.
Easier said than done.
It is the courage. It is the willingness. And people of such must be selfless, not corrupt, don't care about themselves. I bring that character. I can say that to you. And that is what I'm pushing. The second thing I want to do, retailing in Liberia is exclusively for Liberians. So no Lebanese, for the matter of fact, should be doing retail in this country or foreigner. No, it's a law. People say the Ghanaians are not good. I like the Ghanaians. To go to Ghana and do certain business there, no, you must partner with a Ghanaian. And I'm not talking about fronting, I'm saying serious partnership. And there's a limit they have to tell you this is what you must pay to partner with a Ghanaian. They do that. In Liberia, we open up all our sector. In fact, there were 26 businesses set aside when I worked with LRDC and we're doing the new investment incentive code. Specifically for Liberians. You got Lebanese doing that. Lebanese are doing block business. They're making blocks. They bring their machine now, they're making blocks. They take all the projects for making blocks. Lebanese are doing a rock crushing.
Even sand mining as well.
Sand mining. They make all the money. Where should Liberians be? We don't have the guts to do that. We must take affirmative actions. There are laws that we have on the books to say this is where it should be. Vanny, close your eye. Imagine all the stores down Waterside and Vartan are occupied by Liberians doing retailing. I want us to push the Lebanese back into wholesale. We're not going to, I don't want to sound xenophobic here, but we'll tell them, look, this is our country. Liberians must get rich in Liberia. The Lebanese boys are rich. You don't see them. They live in the sky rise in Singa and other places. They are on they got the penthouses. Well, you don't have any Liberian with a penthouse easily beside maybe Alexander Cummings.
You alone cannot do this.
But the point, look, I'm going to push it.
Okay.
Look, and the point I'm making is that, look, Mahatma Gandhi has said, the change you want to see in the world is the change you should be. So what I want to see is what I'm going to push for. And I'm not pushing for anything that's contrary to what it should be. There will be some Liberians who accept in the legislature that, look, what Gideons is pushing makes sense. Let's go for it. Let's do what we can to make sure this happens. Let's make millionaires in Liberia out of our own businesses. And that's what I'm looking for. Those are some of the things I would do. The two of that I wish I would do. We can find time to talk about the other education and even that which has to do with fiscal management properly.
It's due to the time factor that we'll have to just put you with the last question, and then we can take leave of you because we're already out of time at the moment. But basically, what message is there finally that you want to send out to people across Montserrat County, be it the ones that have not even heard about the name? What is that message you want to send out?
What I want to say that you may have not heard about Giddens, but Roland Lafayette Giddens is a very steadfast, selfless person who believes in building a society of equity. I have had the opportunity to do that. If you go to the Ministry of Public Works, where I work as Deputy Minister for Administration, ask people about me, walk in there, do a survey. They tell you, I build equity. I want everybody to get their share and participate in that process. I like to do that. I've done that in my professional life. I've done that where I teach in the classroom. I've done that even in my family. And sometimes people may not like me because I stand for principles and I uphold certain things that I believe cannot just be changed, because these things must be done to change our society. We need people with integrity. We need people with principles.
Okay.
Roland Lafayette Giddens is somebody who brings that to the table. Try me and see what's going to happen. But most rather need somebody serious. We don't need jokers. We don't need crooks. We don't need people who vacillate, flip.
Thank you,
Chief.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. We're out of time.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
We have another time to come back.
Thank you. Thank you for showing up as well. This is Trending Issue. This is how we take leave of you. Final presentation for the week. Punch TV. Have yourselves a wonderful time. My name is Vanny Dix. I'd like to say bye-bye.
Fire free, let me. Fire free, let me.
Hey, see bestie. Your bestie not sweet like my bestie. Your bestie la bestie. Fire free, let me.
I say, see bestie wanting to happy. Fire free, let me. I hear them say they want me go. I say,
Some of them say they want me go.
I say,
Some French Some French
government know. A letter was written in deception. You did not even included the caption of your.
Hey, see bestie. Your bestie not.
The government know. A letter was written in deception. You did not even included the caption of your.
There's some people talking about, and that's just a coconut factory. Coconut factory is right on the other end. Those that every day making more, saying I work with Coca-Cola, and I work with Coca-Cola, you work with Coca-Cola.